What's up, wild animals? I'm Melanie Vesey, and welcome to another Promotional Rescue talk show. I'm a stand-up comedian, actress, and filmmaker, and if you want to see any of my work, know about my weekly comedy shows on Comedy Hub, watch my comedy special on Amazon, you can do that at melanievesey.com. But I'm also a promotions consultant with my own company called Promotional Rescue, and I talk to people and help them learn how to promote themselves without feeling gross. On my show today, I'm going to be talking to my guest about their tips and tricks and how they self-promote themselves, how they do it, how they get through. Then over on my Patreon, we'll be talking about the best and the worst thing that's ever happened to them promoting online. It's always a really super juicy conversation over there. So you can go to patreon.com/Melanie Vesey. And without further ado, I'm super stoked to talk to this lady. You've seen her on Conan, Two Dope Queens. She's two podcasts. One, the Jackie and Lori podcast, which is amazing. The Dork Forest, if you want to dork out, super awesome. She's going to be recording her new comedy special in person in December. But to prepare for all of that, she's doing weekly comedy shows on Zoom to build up her material. So get on her newsletter at JackieKashian.com so you can get all those notifications and all that stuff and stay plugged into whatever's going on with her. Without further ado, I love this lady. Give it up for Jackie Kashian. Yay!
Yay, it's happening. Hi, Melanie. We're on the internet together. Yay.
We are. Yes. And I'm so glad you're here. And I so appreciate talking to you. You've always been of amazing service to me and so many people in the community. I'm always so grateful. You've been doing comedy now for...
I count the 80s as 1 year. So, but if we were to count all 6 years of the 80s, it would be 36 years.
Amazing.
Feels like a long time. You'd think I'd be further along, but it's all coming together. It's all coming together.
What I see from the outside is someone who's doing it and living it and being it and thriving during this time, which is its own challenge.
That's super important. Like what people see from the outside is something that needs to be said to other people's faces who are like, I feel like it's not working out. And I was like, are you on stage with the it? You've already won. Yeah. It's already, you're doing it. It's happening. It's okay.
So
yeah, I know you want a Tesla and a yacht and you want to run away and the people of New Zealand would accept you. I know you want all of this, but you're going to get what you get. That's what you. And Fred Armisen, who I just saw yesterday, actually said the greatest thing to me once. It was the year he got, so it must have been like 2000, but the year he got Saturday Night Live, because he had just gotten Saturday Night Live, and I told him that I was going on the road, and he was like, God, I wish I could go on the road. And I said, you just got Saturday Night Live. And he said, it's true. It's true. You get what you get. And I was like, yeah. I said, you could do the road, man. You're famous. You're going to be. And he's like, Jackie, no one will tolerate my costume changes. And I was like, oh, you are correct. You are actually accurate. In the middle of Montana at a one-nighter on a Wednesday, they are not tolerating your.
Which is always amazing to hear because we do that compare and despair. You know, we're comparing our insides to everyone's outsides. Then if we talk to those people, then they want what we have and we want what they have. And there's always something, right? That's kind of like, so it's always my goal when I'm having these conversations to talk about that stuff, because I feel like in normalizing these conversations around the struggles that we have, because for me, what I notice is that when people start to struggle, they stop putting themselves out there. And then you're not getting the validation that you need, and then you're not pushing the ball. And then it's just a vicious cycle. You don't feel good. You don't want to do it. You stop doing it. Then it stops happening. And then you don't want to feel good. And then you stop doing it. And then it stops happening. And then you feel like garbage. And so I feel like these are really important components with getting out there, self-promotion, putting ourselves out there. So yeah, you've been doing this a long time. So how have you kind of made peace with your promotional journey? Like, how did this promotional journey start for you? Clearly it was very different back then in the 80s than it is now.
Right. And plus, it wasn't, I mean, the internet has been an amazing tool, obviously. It is probably the greatest invention since the television itself. And And it's kind of the great equalizer in the way that it makes it possible for everyone to promote themselves, even if they are brand new or they're not good at what they do. Or, I mean, I think nerds created the internet so that we could all find each other to talk about Lord of the Rings. We didn't invent it so that Nazis could find each other. That is a horrible byproduct of the internet, and I don't approve at all.
Yes. So that is always my point, right? So the truth of the matter is, because of the internet, the gatekeepers aren't there in some elements. Hey, you want to record your album? Do it. You want to put your movie out? Go for it. You want to, whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. Books, movies, music, in every, promote your business. It's all there for you to do. Nothing can stop you. Nothing.
Right.
However, everyone's doing that. So the static is up.
Right. The static is up. The scale is enormous. And, but much like when I was in college, I didn't know I knew that I wanted to do stand-up, and my sister and my brother were like, yeah, but you have to finish college. And I was like, ugh, but I want to do stand-up and I don't need it. And they're like, anyway, my sister was like, it's just 3 more years. And then the next year she went, it's just 3 more years. I wasn't very good at college. Anyway, so, but the thing is that, I was at one point I was talking to like a counselor. I had to declare a major, and they said, what are you thinking about doing? And I was like, I want to do stand-up. This guy doesn't want to hear it. And it was me and some other student, and we were both poli-sci students. And I said, well, I'm thinking about becoming a lawyer. And he said, and the other student said, well, they say that by the year 2000, that there's going to be 40,000 lawyers in this country, and it's going to be saturated. And this was in 1987, 88. And I looked at him and I said, I'm not going to be a shitty lawyer. But I mean, whatever you're doing, right? Whatever you want to do creatively or professionally, or, how did your dad yelled at you? Do it right. I remember my stepmother used to say, don't help unless you're asked, and when you're asked, do it right, which is cryptic and wrong, and there's all kinds of problems there. But when you do it right, right? I mean, if you're going to water the garden, roll up the hose.
Yeah.
My father. Yeah. If you're gonna make dinner, try to make the best dinner you can. If you're gonna clean a room, try to clean it as well as you can. Like those are just tasks. If you're doing something you love, try to write the best novel.
Yeah.
Try to write, and with novels and with all kinds of the written word. I mean, because I work in a spoken word medium, we both do.
Yeah.
Whenever I do anything in the written word, I read it out loud. Sometimes it's 100 pages, but I read it out loud, because when you read something out loud, you can hear the problems with grammar and punctuation.
Yeah.
And the thing you're really looking for. I mean, you'll find your typos and you'll find your grammar and punctuation errors, but you'll also find where the language doesn't work.
Yeah, you'll trip over it and it'll be funky and all of that stuff. And what you're saying too, and what I always speak to, because I do, I love the idea of helping people learn how to promote themselves better. And what I'm not saying to people is just be a better promoter. I'm like, the best thing is to have the best product. Always be working on your craft. Be that undeniable person. Be buzzworthy. Why would somebody tell somebody else to come to your show? Because they had a fucking great time. Yeah. They loved it. That's always going to be the best promotion, always, at the end of the day.
At the end of the day. And I remember coming up, first of all, promoting yourself was considered hacky and not cool. And selling merch was considered selling out. And you weren't, and in the same breath, they'd say that stand-up comedy wasn't an art, but if you were selling merch, you weren't an artist. And you're like, how about someone who enjoys lunch? That's something I enjoy when I'm on the road making, $300 a week as a feature.
So,
And
how did you, in hearing that, because I know that, so I've talked with many people on the show so far, some people farther along, not so much, whatever. And some people have said, yes, even to my detriment, I didn't promote myself and I wish I did. So, in hearing that information and hearing that it was something that was looked down upon, like, how did you, and like what you're saying, like, oh, I want to eat, like, how did you make peace with then that transaction inside of doing comedy?
it took a while just because there was a certain, and I was not the pioneer of it, I mean, it was like during the 90s, it became okay to put out an album. And the people who had t-shirts, I remember in like, it had to be like 93 or 94, my dad was like, you should have painter's caps printed with your name on it, and you should throw them into the audience. And my father is a salesman. My father is nothing but promotion.
Yeah.
With or without substance, sell the product.
Yes.
And as he's always said, you have to believe in the product. You have to know that you're selling something that someone actually does want and need, and that you believe that the product that's going to be installed is something that they're going to want and need, and they're going to be happy with, that they got it done. And so but I was raised with this enormous self-promotion sales attitude as a child, and there was some of that was negative, right? Like I was raised to sort of take advantage of people, and people are idiots, and if they're idiots, they deserve to be taken for a buggy ride. And you're like, I don't want any. And then I met other people who were raised by other people. And those other people had information about things that weren't cool. They're like, and they were also, some of them came from much wealthier families than mine, and so didn't think about money. And so also they had this attitude of like money was a little vulgar, and it wasn't cool to want money, and it wasn't, I was like, and it took me a decade or more to figure out that they could afford to think that way.
Yes. Yeah.
And I had to realize that I could not afford to think that way because I did not have the cash.
Yes.
If you're wealthy, you can have these high lofty ideals, and I'm not against noblesse oblige. If you're a billionaire and you divorce Jeff Bezos, please donate $17 billion to something and have it not affect your income at all. And so what he told me to put out these hats, and I was like, you're ridiculous. I'm not. Painter's caps, no. But then I wrote a joke in like 95 or 96, and I was working my day job was at a catalog, and they had a button machine. And so I printed up buttons that had my name on them, and it was a reference to a joke, and it was just an old joke. It was I think the first time it was on my album in 98 that I printed myself and burned on my computer, and was ridiculous. And then in 99 I put out a real first album, and then in 2003 I put out an album with that stuff from the 96 album, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so that joke was about how, no, that joke must have been from 99 because it was based on something that happened here. So it must have been all 99, early 2000s, whatever. So the joke was this, is I was sexually assaulted by a massage therapist on Venice Beach. Make lemonade, huh? Who doesn't want to make lemonade with that? And so I told this joke about how the massage therapist had his fingers up me.
Oh.
And I said to him, hey man, that's where I keep my vagina. And so somebody had suggested after a show that I needed to sell a t-shirt that said, that's where I keep my vagina, with an arrow going down. And I was like, I never want to sell that shirt. I don't want to be the Vagina T-shirt lady, any number of things, right? It was this big joke about how I could, first of all, the story and the funny,
Yes.
and then the story of the shirt that I never wanted to take part. That's not what the shirt would be. The shirt wouldn't be, that's where I keep my vagina with an arrow going down. It would be, that's where I keep my vagina with an arrow going to the left, like I'm with stupid. And so, I made a button that said, that's where I keep my vagina, with my website on it and both arrows that I gave away as a promotional thing.
Yes.
And I threw them into the audience once and it poked somebody because the pin came undone. So, yeah. But so that was sort of the first, it was CDs first and then those buttons. And now I'm essentially the Walmart of merch and stickers and promotional stuff, but it doesn't affect my stand-up. You know, I mean, there's part of me that sort of embraced the sales part from when I was a kid, and I don't mind selling this stuff. I kind of like it, and it makes okay money. It makes lunch money for the week, and so who doesn't? Like, then I could take my whole check home with me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And yeah.
I think a lot of this is a very interesting promotion. In the end, it does also feature that interesting relationship that people have to money. And what it means to be an artist, what it means to earn, what it means to like not want to earn, what it means to be braggy, what all of this means. And I know that a lot of people have it. It is very hardwired in their brains. I mean, very hardwired.
Everybody has money issues.
Yes.
Whatever angle you've got on it, we've all got the money issues. And we also have self-esteem issues. But the other, the thing that promotional items and promoting myself has really done for the best is that it allows me to connect with my fans, with people who like my stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, I like your jokes. I would love to talk to you. Here's $20 for a CD. In other news, I'm like, and here's 3 free stickers. And in the course of that, they get to tell me that their dad is also a salesperson. Their mom is also Banana Land. And their siblings are also very helpful. And or whatever,
I think that people want to support you. And I think that there's this in the voices that tell us that nobody wants to hear about your fucking bullshit. Actually, what we end up doing is finding the people that do want to support us, that actually want to give us $20, that want to follow us to wherever we're performing, that want to tune in. They want to engage. And that's also, I feel like in a deeper sense, like the reason why, I mean, I don't know why you got into comedy, but like, I truly want to make people laugh. I truly want to make people enjoy themselves. And I have to sometimes be I have to be in a relationship with them, even though I struggle with being in relationships. You know what I mean? So it is a challenging relationship for me to be in, so.
Right. Yeah. I would say that stand-up itself is something that for too many years, it felt like it saved my life in many ways. It gave me self-esteem. It gave me something to do. It gave me friends. It gave me, it had like a cult-like feel to it. It gave me a place to go. It gave me a community, and it gave me all of these things. And it was so, but in the end, I had to admit to myself that it could not give me everything, that I had to have a whole life, like some people go into comedy and they end up with, and this is mostly dudes, they end up marrying like someone who works at a club or someone who is a fan or this type of thing. And then that person becomes their sort of support vehicle and they can talk to them about stand-up and stuff like that. But that almost never happens with women and women comics. It's there's just, and if a woman comic ends up marrying a male comic, she can get a lot of bullshit where she's like, well, you could feature for Rich Voss. You could feature for Chris Titus. And which are two famous examples of right now, right? Sort of thing. And Ralphie May's wife before Ralphie passed. And they divorced before that. But the thing is there's a need eventually artistically to where it can't just be all your art. You can't just work all the time. And it's not gonna make it come any faster. It's not gonna make your art any better.
Yes.
If you don't have a whole life.
Yes.
And so the success isn't gonna be any better.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be worse.
Or if the success doesn't come and then you're in that 50, 60 year mark and you're alone, and then I don't know, but like you see some male comics, female comics, whatever, and then taking choices, sometimes ending their lives. I'm not saying this is why. I'm just saying like it does scare me that that's when you just put all your eggs in that basket and then there's no life there at the end. And it's
right. And the realization of when you want that life is a choice that is available to different people at different times, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of male comics, when they turn like, now it's, I think, closer to 40, but it used to be 20, 30 years ago when you were about 30, 32 years old, a male comic would go, well, I should probably get married. I'm starting a headline. I think I can provide an income for these people. And she will stay home and raise these babies by herself. And I, hopefully, you will meet guys who don't fuck around on the road. I mean, all these things, right? Yeah. So, I mean, but when, like I was 33 when I started thinking I would like a boyfriend in addition to having a career. And then it took me to when I was, I think 30s would have been, I would have been, 37 when I met my husband.
Aww.
And then we were married when I was 39.
Great. He's so great.
It's amazing. I mean, as far as a connection with another human being, I've struck gold.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm happily married, and it's so funny because now I'm the dude in the relationship because my wife wants to have a baby, and now I'm the comic who's like sneaking around at night and like coming home late and like, making leftovers, and she stays home and helps take care of my son, and she wants to have another baby. And so I'm going to be the man. Like I'm the dude. Like I'm the fucking
right, 1957. Yeah, it's
take my wife, please,
It's yeah, and it's I think that there's but it's a weird. So you realize different comics or different, and it's comics for me, but different comics at different times realize that they're going to die alone, right? And eventually you're like, am I willing to do that? Do I think that if I push just 5 more years, I can get the show, I can sell the thing, I can, and you're like, I don't know. How about? I mean, this is another thing about absolutely everything is that the thing you put your attention on is the thing that moves forward.
Yeah.
So if you put your attention on wanting to have a relationship, like Lori Kilmartin, who is the Jackie and Lauren show, it was unexpected, and but her son, in many ways, I think saved her life. Just because it's
grounding.
It's grounding. It teaches. I have, much like many male comics, who all of a sudden have some empathy. They're just like, how many dude comics have you met are like, I got kids now. I got to figure out. And then if they have daughters, who happen to be smart, and you're like, yes, they're people. They're all kinds of people, and those people are the ones that have the hole in the middle. I'm so sorry. What are you doing? What? They're just people. It's a stalk of meat with some fucking brain meat on top.
Right.
And a different sausage casing. Anyway, so.
So you've been doing
Anyway.
this. So in doing this, and it sounds like you have managed to work out a very beautiful balance. You're a working comedian. You figured out how to have a relationship that isn't sucking the life out of you. It's actually contributing. I mean, Andy is helps you with your stuff and contributes. You seem to have a fantastic back and forth. Like, so in doing this stuff, what are some of the things? Because I know that promotion isn't always the thing that people want to do. It can be a challenge. They don't know how to do it. And there's that frustration there. Like, what are the things that have helped you get over the hump, knowing that you have to motivate an audience to do something, either get them in a room or get them to click a link? Like, what are those things that you have done to help yourself do that?
Okay, well, so I mean, obviously you build with whatever, and especially with the internet, right? I mean, I know people. Maria Bamford used to sit at open mics and write postcards for hours, and then mail off postcards. And
Amazing.
And we would mock her mercilessly, yes. And she would be like, "Yeah, I'm not really good socially. This is something to do." Anyway, so but it was, it essentially what you're doing in any kind of social with any medium is getting your name out there, right? So it's AOL boards, and those boards in the late 90s, me and my Mac Classic, and then it was MySpace initially. And quite honestly, I will tell you this: if you still have a MySpace account and you have anything that has copyright problems on it, put that video up on MySpace, because guess who's not looking? NBC. Nobody's looking on MySpace. If you need to put up sample videos, for promotion,
wow,
hide them on MySpace.
Okay.
That's what I did. Unfortunately, last year they lost all their content. I don't think they did. I think they purged all their content because it was expensive, all their server farms. So I would have to redigitize all of my Last Comic Standing, but I have not. Anyway, so then and every year, and especially exponentially as it grows with media, it grows exponentially. So that it's Facebook, and it's Twitter, and it's Snapchat, and it's Instagram, and it's TikTok, and it's the next, whatever the next thing is, and that I've never even heard of. And so and it's podcasts, and it's live shows, and it's sort of crap to hand out with your name on it. I wouldn't go overboard with that, just because I've been given stacks of stickers by people that I've thrown away, and I feel bad. I feel bad about it. But one thing I would recommend is that whenever you make anything to sell or to hand out, make sure the art or the slogan is funny enough or good, cool enough that you would wear it.
Yeah.
You would want it, because otherwise you're like, it's the old Mitch Hedberg joke, would you throw this out for me? So so all of my, and try to put them on things, on shirts you would wear. Like, all of my shirts are union made in America, and they're heavy duty because I like a heavy duty shirt, and they last longer.
Yeah.
The art is always very interesting and really cool, and I would wear my own merch. But my nephew told me back in 2006 that you're not cool if you wear your own merch. So I have a problem. So Andy will wear my Spooky Reading Girl t-shirt because he's got an inner Spooky Reading Girl. Aww. And so, but I have all this new merch now that I printed right before quarantine. So I have a garage full of 2 new designs, and 3 new pieces of merch. I've got a Squish with Whomever You Wish.
Love it.
T-shirt. I've got a really cool pencil drawing of my dad with all of his different quotes, because I've been doing dad jokes for 35 years. And then I've got a challenge coin, which is just a metal coin that has that picture of my dad, and it says one of his slogans, one of the things that he says is never say no without a number. And this is merch that I cannot move. It's fine, but if I were working the road, I could move this stuff. Otherwise, people gotta go on my store and look for it and be interested that way. But promotion wise, though. But so I also have an email list, and the email list has been kind of dormant for years. And this year, because of how much we're home, and there's no way to put my Zoom shows on my calendar.
Yes.
Because my Zoom shows, it changes with my schedule. They're like tomorrow's show, Sunday's show, tomorrow, sometimes they're at 10 a.m., sometimes they're at noon, sometimes they're at 2, sometimes they're at 6 p.m. And it's because I have fans across the globe.
Yeah.
And I try to mix it up so that different people can come, and I can have different comics do guest sets from different time zones. And my schedule is so weird on Sundays that I can also, what do I care if it's noon?
Right.
Everyone, do you guys want an hour and a half of stand-up comedy at 3 p.m? Okay, let's do it. And so, but the email list, I've had to join Mailchimp, which is $30 a month.
Yeah, I have Mailchimp is what I deal with all of my clients, and
because I'm sending out every week now. And
once you reach a limit, so it's free until I think you get 1,500 people on your list, and then depending on the size of your list or what you want the list to do, if it's by time zones, or you can do a lot. The newsletters are very important, and I always tell people to start that process, even if you're just kind of starting out, to just and it's not like you're going to have 1 million people right away. It might only be like 1 or 2 at a time, or per show. When they buy a ticket, then they can be asked, do you want to join the mailing list? And then you're growing that audience. So when you have that situation where you go, hey guys, show is this Sunday at 2:00. Here's the Zoom link. Here's the password, register here. And then you can reach those people. That is mwah. Because on social media, first off, you shouldn't put Zoom links on social media. You'll get bombed, which you don't want. And also, too, social media is passive. It's if people see it, and it goes
right, because the scroll goes by so fast.
Twitter, you get buried on Twitter. The algorithms on Facebook and Instagram, who the fuck knows what that's all about? It's just a magic box of weirdness. You never know what's it going to be. However, getting that email into someone's inbox is like a direct contact from Jackie.
Yes.
And they've already said, I love Jackie. I want to know what's going on with her.
Right. And the thing about Mailchimp, it's almost harder to get on the list than it is to get off. Because every single email has a scroll and unsubscribe. Mm-hmm. So if you get bored, if you find that you're getting too many of them, I encourage people. I'm like, if you don't know how you get on the list, if you're over the list, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Feel free to. I'm not gonna. What am I gonna haunt you? I don't. I don't have that many people on that list, and I feel I feel bad, and I shouldn't feel bad because they've asked to join the list.
They have.
But once a week feels like a lot. So what I'm doing is I try to put an anecdote now. Every week I've got new little quarantine anecdote. Live it up, and But I would be interested because I bet you, for $30 a month, I bet you there's amazing things that Mailchimp could be doing for me that I am not taking advantage of.
Well, or maybe I don't exactly know everything that you're doing, but maybe
sending an email out with pictures on it.
Well, or just the suggestion is to keep it from the every week. So maybe you just schedule out 2 Zoom shows. So this Sunday and next Sunday, here they are. Here's the links. Here's click here. So you're only sending 2 emails a month as opposed to 4 emails a month. It is a lot for people. Yeah. However, and we don't want to turn people off. Over promotion can be very frustrating. However, in this time where we're kind of all trapped inside, people do want to know where to go and where to get this stuff. And the newsletter list, I just know that from working with Maria, the newsletter in selling out her shows on for other, when she does her rush ticks or whatever, or her Zoom shows, the newsletter has been one of the most powerful things because those people have said, hey, this is where I want to be. Just tell me about it. And then also too, reminding them, hey, show starts in 10 minutes if you didn't click the first time. But we don't want to do it too much. That was for a 1 show every couple months as opposed to 1 show every other week. So
right. And so that's what I would do when I was on the road. Every 3 months, I would put out my schedule so that they didn't have to go look at the calendar on my website.
Right.
They could to see beyond that 3 months. But, I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Colorado, Milwaukee, and Minneapolis in December. and that's exciting. But with because I don't do the way my Zoom shows are done. It is a registration thing.
Yeah.
But you have to send because I don't want to be Zoom bombed.
Yes.
And it's literally just send me something like $5.
Yeah.
And like tomorrow's show has Marilyn Rice come on it.
Amazing.
That's fancy. She's fancy.
Well, and that show in the real world with the two of you on it would be
$40. Yeah.
Right. I mean, plus 2-drink minimum, plus food, plus parking, plus the babysitter.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And so for $5 tomorrow afternoon, you could watch Marilyn do 10 minutes and then me work on the current 35 to 40 that I need to make work.
Right. And people love the journey. They love to see the journey of that joke, right?
I have seen the same people for 6 months, the same 60 people come every Sunday. And sometimes it's 100 people, sometimes it's 30 people, but it's the same core of people watching these jokes get incrementally tighter.
Yes.
And they're excited about it, you know? And I'm like, I'm excited about it. I'm psyched you're excited about it. This is interesting. Will you be purchasing the album? And they're like, we will be purchasing the album because we were there.
Yes, and they I know that I love it. I mean, I've done that with many comics, going to see Maria do her afternoon shows and then finally being at the recording of the special. I'm totally like, "Oh, that's how it all worked out." You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's some amazing thing to do. So, we've talked about creating merch, which I feel like what you've pretty much said, like if there's that punchline that really stands out, right? That really people really love. And maybe they even say to you, hey, you should put that on a t-shirt or a button or a sticker or whatever it is, right? And then maybe that's the thing that you kind of tease out, right? And then this idea that like, it's on something that you would want to have, right? Something cool. Is it a patch or a sticker or a t-shirt, but not junk, right? It was something that you would want, right? Because people want to invest in something and they want to invest in you.
Right. Don't just make some crap to put to have it out there. Like, so I'm recording this album, right? And I want people to wear masks. So I wish I had anyway.
So you made masks?
I made masks. And so I do a joke.
Smart.
I do a joke about how I wear lipstick to light up my joke hole. And the word joke hole is the funny part. Thanks for playing. Now, so the mask says joke hole. And it's just, I had 800 of them printed. And so there's probably not going to be more than 500 people at all 5 of these shows. So I'll have 300 left over, but I also have a show in Denver on the 2nd, like outside of Denver on the 2nd of December. And I have 4 shows in Milwaukee, the 5th and 6th. And so I want people to wear masks at the goddamn show. And I would like to be far enough, and I'm going to be far enough away from them so that we're at least, I'm not spitting my crazy. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't mind a plexiglass thing in front of me.
Yes.
So that they don't have to, because I'm traveling.
Yes.
I am a petri dish coming into their town.
Yeah.
They should want to be protected from me.
Yeah.
So, so I've printed these and it just says Joe Cole and then Jackie Kashian. But they're not the fanciest masks, but they are reusable and they're okay. Right?
Great.
They're probably good for a couple of months. They're
amazing.
They're just cotton. And they're just super fun, and that's all.
And it's there to meet the need that you want it to do, and it's funny. So it checks all the boxes, right? Then we talked about your newsletter, which is helping you, and this show that you're doing to prep for the recording of your album is also helping you earn a little money, right? I mean, it's like people pay a little bit of bread to get in the door, which is great, right?
Yep.
And then so all of the promotion comes together because it's like a marriage. You know what I mean? You have the thing that you want to sell, which is your comedy, but then it's like, how can these other things be a kickstand to support it and then keep it going? So the two things kind of take flight together, right? Hopefully.
Yeah. And the great thing about Zoom shows is, quite honestly, there's people who live in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Who don't get to see stand-up comedy. And this is a different kind, the venue is different and it's not the same thing. I was
Right.
talking to somebody yesterday and they're like, I really don't like Zoom shows. And I wanted to say, yeah, I didn't like one-nighters in Nebraska very much either. But it turns out this is what's available.
Yes.
So,
making peace with the Zoom shows. Believe me, I still have comics in my life who won't do them.
Yes.
And I'm like, how are you doing it? For me, that's why I started the Antidepressant Comedy Hour, which I do every Sunday night, which you've done on Comedy Hub. For me, as a comic, I need to say this stuff out loud with some sort of other people involved, not in my living room. I need the community. I need the connection. I also need to just have something to tell people that I'm doing. Otherwise, what am I doing? I don't know. I mean, I can only share so much about the dog, and my kid's a teenager. He won't let me take his picture and post it. And my wife gets
He's shrewd. Yeah.
My wife gets all the love whenever I post her anyway. You know what I mean? So I've got to keep this machine well oiled, Yeah. So it is its own thing. Okay. So amazing talk so far, you guys. We're gonna go over to my Patreon right now with Jackie, and we're gonna talk about the best and worst thing that's ever happened to her promoting online or whatever comes up, because I know Jackie's got some good stuff to talk about. So you can get all that at patreon.com/Melanie Vesey. And if you want to keep up with Jackie, do it. She's recording an album. She's got these Sunday Zoom shows. She's clearly got some fantastic merch in her garage. Please help her. Wish with whomever you wish. I don't know. That might be a tattoo. I'm thinking about it. And then never say no without a number. Elliot Kashian has helped me make money. That's all I'm fucking saying. Whatever he has shared with Jackie, reaching through time, has landed to me and helped me make more money. Because I'm telling you, people have asked me to perform for free, and I go, I need this much money. And then, all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, they come up with that fucking money. So I'm making money with the Elliot Kashian. Never say no without a number. And I haven't bought the coin.
Could not be more pleased.
I'm not. I don't even have the coin. I'm just living it. I am living the merch.
And here's a bonus for the Melanie Vesey fan. If you order a T-shirt and a coin, you get a free bumper sticker. That's right. The Never Say No Without a Number bumper sticker will come with the challenge coin and the T-shirt.
Amazing. You heard it here. Fall in love, follow and fawn over Jackie Kashian. Amazing podcasts. Two Dope Queens, Conan, all of that stuff. It's totally worth a Google if you're not already in the Jackie Kashian camp. For me,
and if you need peace of mind, something to check out a little bit, just casual, I would recommend The Dork Forest. Melanie's been on, and it's all it is someone talking about something they love a lot. One of the next episodes is Kristen Key discussing the fascinating world of Mad Libs.
Oh,
she loves a Mad Lib. Bill Dwyer, Sudoku. There's been a lot of puzzles lately, but we did have, it was Nori Davis talking about sneakers. He's a sneakerhead. And then we've had, one of my favorite episodes this year is Guy Branum talking about some weird British family called the Mitford sisters. And that's easily my favorite episode of the year. Guy Branum, the Mitford sisters, the Dork Forest.
An hour
worth your time.
You can get it all.
It's free.
.com. It is worth it. And of course, if you're a comedian or you love comedy and you want to hear two comedians talk at endless length about comedy, and Lori podcast, you want to know how travel works, hotels, canceling, getting, losing, gigs, men in comedy, women in comedy. Believe me, it is covered over there. Thanks so much for watching the Promotional Rescue Talk Show. We're going to go over to my Patreon right now. Bye.